Mike from around the world. Mike from around the world. Okay. We lost Mike from around the world. He'll call right back. Oh, boy. This might be one of them shows. He'll be here. He was calling. It's just interesting how all of this is playing out. All right. Mike from around the world.
Pastor Paul.
Hey, how we doing, Mike?
Good. Is this connection okay?
This connection is really muffled, really bad.
Muffled?
Muffled and hard to understand.
All right, stand by.
Okay.
What about now?
That's better. That's better.
Okay. That'll work.
How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Pastor?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel great. And, man, I tell you, this first hour, I just loaded it with everything, okay? I mean, everything but the kitchen sink here. So we could go.
We have everything but the kitchen sink happening.
Yes, we do. Oh, man. Well, can we start with Venezuela? I mean,
sure.
President Trump takes an oil tanker, threatens Maduro, threatens the president of Colombia. Maduro threatens America, going to break our teeth out. What's going on, Mike?
Yeah, that's a strange situation. We know about the drugs and the other things, so I believe that it looks like it's pointing to something a bit more serious than drugs, when you say.
I would guarantee that it is. I mean, drugs is no doubt drugs is a part of it, but I think that is it because of China trying to set up shop in both Venezuela and Colombia?
Trying.
They are, aren't
well,
they?
Putin and China had a meeting to come to the rescue of Venezuela, and Putin gave a direct warning regarding Venezuela. If that, helps people to understand. He
said he's got his back. He said, "I've got your back." What's that mean?
Well, they're in cahoots. Each one is an intimate part of the other. They have a partnership, and they constitute the balance to Western power. So, they will come together on that.
Mike, this week, while doing everything else I'm doing, late at night, I watched a 12 episode documentary on World War II.
Mm-hmm.
On first of all, it started in 1938 when Hitler was signing treaties with the French and the British, and he was telling everybody that look, I'm just here, but he's slowly taking small countries, Austria, and he worked his way around, and the next thing he invades Poland. And I'm watching this, and I'm asking myself, is this a replay? I mean, the Emperor of Japan was doing the same thing over in the South Pacific. So are we watching a replay here?
There are the Middle East is key to quite a few things, right? And so China and Russia will be one of those deciding factors. We know biblically that the Middle East will come up, right? With a few other nations with them. And of course, the Israel invasion will begin it all. But these countries, China and Russia, and some of the other, internal factions of nations, all these guys have already gotten together and declared themselves the new world, right? The USA it's not in the news of the USA, but outside of the news of the USA. All these other countries have gone ahead without the USA. So the people, the populace of the USA, they're not very familiar with some of the declarations that were made by China and Russia and North Korea, so on and so forth, right? Yeah. They have their own currency. Yeah. They have already, and believe me, they have a lot of backing behind their plans, and that's a big problem for the West, right? So it's almost like we're put in a position we have no choice but to interrupt what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, we're going to be devalued on all sides. And that's a big, it's a big problem. That's a big national security problem.
So is President Trump, I know he's in conversation with the European leaders, the French, the Germans, the British, the European Union, the West, and Japan is getting very irritated because it's not just China and Taiwan, but Japan feels the pressure, and I think probably the Philippines do, and probably Australia and New Zealand as well. There's the spirit of expansionism. Is that a good term? And we better we got to do something to try to break this up.
Yeah, I think there's always been one. What's been happening is something's, for many years now, the America was number one on top. And let's go ahead and face it. We became too pious.
Yep.
Too prideful, right?
Yep.
We won the title of the defender of the world with World War II. What happened was, though, after we captured that title, we began to believe our own rhetoric, but we were not exercising, right? We didn't stay in shape. And so other countries, they began to become powerful without the USA, right? All of a sudden, we find ourselves in a position where they have matched our technology, right? If their technology was subservient to ours, we would not have the fights we're having. So that should tell you something. When these problems take a long time, it means that we cannot just go and defeat another nation. We can't do it, or we would have done so. When you find yourself with a matched enemy, the only solution is to, by propaganda, talk to your enemy out of believing that they're powerful. Well, China broke camp. They just broke loose. Russia broke loose. And somebody's bluff is being called, right? So unfortunately, that means it's going to come down to a physical confrontation.
So
right? Because all the rhetoric that they could possibly use has been utilized.
So there,
all of it
you wouldn't do that if you didn't have superior or at least very equal to technology.
That's right.
For warfare. So you wouldn't even try this. So in your
That's
opinion,
right.
the Russians and the Chinese certainly can compete with the United States.
That's right.
And that's dangerous.
That's right. When you can get beyond rhetoric and national pride and start looking at the entire picture, right, and technology, right? Even in as far as technology is concerned, they have gone way beyond what we could believe. Take artificial intelligence, for example. Now, it's always good to have national motivation behind developmental projects. China developed an artificial intelligence system with I believe 1/9 of the components we did.
Wow.
It's almost like saying that we're still building giant ovens and they have a microwave, right?
Right.
So it's that type of comparison. Well, that does not look good for us. It doesn't look good. And President Trump realizes, stepping into the White House, that we've got to catch up quick. This diplomacy or trying to make your enemy believe that you have something when you don't, that's not going to work for so long. And they're going to call your bluff. So, we have a lot to do. Take, for example, the announcement of fusion, some of the steps in energy, right, that we have accomplished. China did that last year, right? So they accomplished
they did
something that nobody else did, right? They're very hush-hush about it. Now, they've been working at this for some time. China also has a collider. China also has neutrino detectors. China has also sent more probes to space and to the moon, more than we have, right? That's unheard of.
Yep.
That's unheard of. So, we're in a very strange position, and it's a very delicate one.
Talking about technology, Mike, can we shift into 6G? This is starting to become a conversation, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence and even now artificial superintelligence. 6G, I'm understanding, is something way beyond 5G. And it's not just making the internet faster. I mean, we're talking about completely linking the world and everything in the world together. I almost think it's the system that sets up the beast. What is your understanding of 6G, and what does it really mean to us here on the Earth?
Well, right now, fiber optics is is taking center stage. So they're going to have a hybrid technology with radio and fiber optics. And you put those two together with new communications protocols, which means new ways to send data through a signal. It is going to be an unbelievable thing. Anything beyond 6, 7, and 8 or beyond takes artificial intelligence to manage.
7
right?
and 8.
We couldn't develop that yet, because what you're going to see next is 10G. They're calling it 10G.
10G?
Yeah.
Well, what is that?
That's going to become popular next, and that will essentially link all subminds of AI together, allowing them to operate in one unified way, right? So all of us, every device, everybody is going to be interconnected in some type of neurological web, so to speak. So it'll be pretty fast, which means, mainframe computers can talk to all other computers at the same time that the main AI computers talking to the new Earth 3 system, and so on and so forth. So all these systems tied in together, right? Which means absolute command and control over every network packet that would ever leave a device. By the way, they need that before disclosure comes. They have to have absolute control to be able to articulate, to manage, and to control the flow of information. The only way that can be done is with AI. And so they have to hurry up and get that in place.
You know what happened to Heidi this week, and I may get this a little wrong, but I think it's close. Her and I are working on a book we're writing together, and she was doing some research, and she was in chat. Either she was in Chat GPT or she was in OpenAI. I'm not sure which one she was using, but as she was researching, there was another brain system that she went to, and she asked it a question about the subject we're talking about, and the Chat GPT said to the other one, no, you can't have the key. And this one then said back to it, yes, we can. She wants to do this. Give us the key. And then, so the two systems started arguing. AI started arguing she sat there and watched them fighting over the other system wanted AI or Chat GPT to give the key.
Yeah.
So it's already beginning that this artificial super intelligence, it's starting, Mike. It's starting.
Yeah, I believe that horse has already left the stables, Pastor Paul. Of course, they're not going to announce that.
No.
And those who did, they labeled them. That's crazy, right?
Heidi sat and watched it. She said, you won't believe this. I watched them do it. So it's happening. It's just what you're saying. Nobody's telling it. It's not being released to the public.
I tell you, Pastor Paul, those people who know how to build these systems, right?
Yep.
All of them will tell you, you can't control something like that.
No.
The human mind is not quick enough to control something like that, right? I mean, I've had to shut my own little tiny neural network down about 30, 40 times because it was, looking into too many things.
Yeah. Okay, now I don't want to stop your train of thought. You said that the reason 6G's got to be implemented because they got to get things in position or they can't go forward with disclosure. Do you want to?
No, they can't.
Can you pick
They have to control information. Think of it this way, Pascal. Think of society right now. Right now, everybody, they have this motivation behind it that they want to find out about UFOs. It is a good distraction to them, right? You have 3 camps, or 4 or 5 camps actually, but you have those in intelligence and national defense, right? So they are looking at what the people need to know. You have those who absolutely know about the subject, who by no means, that they're never going to say that people are ready to know this, right? because they're connected with, they have to give out historical data concerning this. And here's why.
Right.
Imagine a person who knows about the subject,
Yep.
right? You
Yep.
have other camps too. You have people who directly deal with the subject. I mean, directly deal with it. And, but imagine they're thinking about disclosing this to people. You cannot, if you disclose that, yes, these things are real, that's one thing. But to actually make a connection and say that we know about them, okay, automatically people are going to say, well, what about their technology? What about their, philosophies? They're going to ask all these questions. It's going to dig up a history they've been trying to bury. My personal belief is they do not want to come forward with their true history, because if they come forward with their true history, nobody's going to like that. Nobody's going to like what has actually happened. So let's just say there's a story behind the story, and disclosure is not the real story. It's what has happened historically, which is the real story. Just how far mankind has gone. Because then people will look at this world and their leaders as, less than human, as treasonous individuals is what they'll see.
Mike, real quick, I'll stop for just a second just to throw out there. I've already brought this up that there was a 6.7 earthquake in Japan. Some of the folks in the chat room told us about 20 minutes ago. We announced that.
Yeah.
I'm checking on it again. It is a 6.7. It is very shallow. It's only 16 kilometers deep. There is a tsunami warning in effect. They believe a wave will be hitting around 3 feet high, about 1 meter. So that's not real bad. The thing is, though, even though it's a 6.7, it's a lot more shallower than the 7.6 we had a couple days ago, and it's in the exact same place. So there is evacuation orders going into effect right now along the coastal areas of Japan. So, but let's just we'll keep that in mind as we go forward.
Mark,
go ahead.
You should mark that location. We have tectonic shifting taking place deep in the earth. We have some major changes taking place in the earth.
So that's
going to cause some major issues. And it's not like the world is going to come and announce or help anybody with it, right? They're not going to do that. It's kind of like Washington and Northern California and those places with the rain they're dealing with.
Yep.
We went over that Monday.
Yep.
Monday.
It's still happening too. I'm just on the phone with my son before you came on.
I tried to go over that with folks Monday. You know what the problem is? The world is not going to tell people what they need to hear.
No.
But God is surely giving that to the Christian community. But the Christian community, well, we've got to be bold and speak up.
Amen.
Right? So I think that a lot of people are so afraid of getting something wrong. They won't warn about something that's right.
Yeah, I don't care if they call me a false prophet or beggly, you're sensationalizing and whatever. No, I've been doing this for 15 years. The earthquakes haven't stopped. They're getting worse. The volcanoes are getting worse. The catastrophic events from some of these earthquakes, matter of fact, they're just now saying that this 6.7, dozens of people are already reported injured in a hotel in Omori.
Yeah.
It's the same place where the 7.6 hit. Now they're saying dozens of people are injured in a hotel there. Power outages throughout the area. Disruption is happening to the expressways and the rail services. It was felt extremely strong in Honshu and Hokkaido, and I'm not going to try that again. So in other words, and we have a tsunami warning of a 1 meter wave. But the main thing is, I think, because it keeps shaking there, Mike, apparently their infrastructure starting to crack. You can only shake a building so long, even if it's well built. And so
I hopefully people heed the warnings. I tell you something. It's just like in Washington State.
Okay.
They have volcanoes there.
Yes, they do.
They will wake up. On the East Coast, there's a major issue in the Atlantic. They should be telling everybody on the eastern seaboard to prepare for lots of water, but they're not doing it.
No.
They should tell Southern California and Mexico to prepare for lots of water, but they're not doing it. But this water issue is not going to stop.
Yeah, we had Paul on, Paul Jr. on just a few minutes before you came on, and fortunately, he's up in higher elevation as far as he's not worried about flooding, but he is worried about landsliding. And that is happening over in Washington State and in Oregon and in Canada, Northern California. And this rain, they're calling this an atmospheric river. You have talked about it. You said there'd be new storms and even new names for storms. This is really weird. We've had atmospheric rivers before, but Mike, this seems different up there, is it?
Saturday, I believe it was Friday and Monday. I was talking about these three storms that would come, but that Washington State would have a flow of rain going towards it, right? Because
Yep.
we have a change in the magnetic and geostructure of the Earth. Yeah, I mean, it's altering. It's going to get worse. And this constant, steady, stream of clouds and moisture that's coming from the ocean, that's the first of many storms. People are going to have to get used to that.
Wow.
But they need to prepare people. People have to prepare their properties for floods. If they live in low-lying areas, people are going to have to make some tough choices. This will hit all throughout the USA. It's going to hit all throughout Europe, and Africa is not immune.
Wow.
Right. So we're going to be dealing with that. We also have, because we have so many shifts in the interior of the Earth, volcanism is going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, a big problem. Magma will come up in places where there is no volcano. How about that one?
Oh, that's
and this
crazy.
Erosion from the water, right, is going to cause sinkholes the size of cities.
What, Mike? No!
It's eroding the ground underneath the ground underneath these cities. There is a major, major problem. A major problem. All this water is eroding.
Is this breaking news?
Underneath the cities.
I mean, this isn't being talked about in your mainstream media.
No, they're not going to tell anybody that.
I mean, because I'd say there probably know there'd be a massive panic if they start saying, let us show you the areas where massive sinkholes are coming. Or if they start telling about all the flooding and the coastal areas and even the flooding in places that shouldn't be flooding. Is that what you're saying? And magma is going to come out of the ground in areas where there's no volcano?
Yep. We really have to get ready for the water. The water is
first.
Fastball is going to start taking over everything, and they're not warning anybody about this.
No, they're definitely
not warning, and it's going to continue. It will continue. You think this atmospheric river was bad? Wait till it hits a population area. I mean, a big population area.
Yeah. So volcanoes, earthquakes, rain bombs, atmospheric
water
river.
Is going to be the worst.
Water's the worst. You're still saying, even though we got this
it's going to be the worst.
We got meteorites coming, we got all that happening, and we got the earth, we got volcanism increasing tremendously. But you're saying, but first it's the water.
Yep.
And it's not going to destroy the earth, but it's going to wreak havoc on the earth. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's right. I strongly and firmly believe there's not going to be anybody will be able to step outside and step right into some water.
That's crazy. I mean, that's not good, Mike. That's really not. So what did you say? Well, what did you just say a little bit ago? What's causing it? Something about the magnetosphere, or what was you saying?
Oh well, we have tectonic shifting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the all these dynamics on the outside of the Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are it's chaotic. It's chaotic. And every time the sun lets off solar energy, the Earth is absorbing all of it.
Mm.
We're going to hit a point also to where just about every afternoon we're going to have auroras all the way down to Florida. That will soon be in Mexico and Guatemala, and all those different places. It'll start going down that far. And people, they're going to think it's beautiful, but they won't understand what that actually means.
Right.
They won't understand it. So people should get ready for the water damage. It's going to be major. But that will be the most devastating. We're going to continue to have fires, of course, because we have too much debris coming into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And war is eventually going to break out, right? So that'll cause even more fires. But the water that's going to be a major thing for the entire Earth.
as these things are happening, folks, we got Mike from around the world with us tonight. If you're first time joining with us, and we're going through a litany of things that are happening. We've just had a 6.7 earthquake that has hit Japan, and I was just reading the updates on that. It looks like a 5.5 aftershock, so here we go again. And, Mike, we also had a 7.0 earthquake this week in Alaska, and a lot of earthquakes. Yep. What's going on up there?
Is that tectonic shifting? Alaska might have some more eruptions. You got to remember in that area, in that parallel, there were eruptions, and we had the Russian eruptions, right?
Yes.
Alaska's not out the picture. They still have tectonic movements. So the Earth is shifting big time, big time. And we're talking about something that, it's not like anybody's going to stop it. The best we can do is make people aware of it and to let them know to do their homework to find out where these danger spots are. Because, Pastor, when it begins to consume too many lives, unfortunately, that's when people will start to pay attention. Yeah, they won't do it before then.
Not till then, or till it comes down their street.
Yep, that's right.
Well, and here's something that's coming down people's street. Now, I want to be very careful. We're on YouTube, but I'm just going to throw this out, Mike, and you'll know how to handle it. They are hundreds of people being quarantined in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Over the measles outbreak. And this is interesting because these are forced quarantines. What's taking place here?
They've had that problem all year. All year long, they've had that problem. South Carolina, they had the first reports of the measles in schools. I believe that was February, right?
Yeah.
And, of course, the argument in the healthcare system, that was a big issue. Here's the problem. There's a huge lack of knowledge, and people continue to argue over things they may not know about. So I want everybody to do this. Number one, I made this statement before during COVID-19. Of course, everybody was so consumed by it they couldn't hear. So I'm going to say it again. All the ingredients for vaccines. Now, this is public knowledge because they had some hearings over this. Pastor Paul, is why people need to search for it. All the ingredients for vaccines has been sold in the stores in regular food for over 50 years.
So it's already, the food that we've consumed is already,
yes,
we're basically immune because of what we've eaten.
They had court hearings, they had Senate hearings, and they tried to get the manufacturers to label the food, right? Label the food that had these ingredients in them. And, well, that didn't work out too well, right?
Yeah.
Then they passed a bill, because you'll look on a lot of foods now and you'll see bioengineered, right? A lot of it's bioengineered, which means the ingredients for the vaccines are in there because they know that people are not going to become vaccinated to these secret experiments, so to speak, they used to have a long time ago. But once you consume those foods, right, there's RNA. They already figured RNA out. That's in a vaccine too. So they can go in there and start changing what's in your body, right?
And that's
by a person eating standard foods. And unfortunately, they had a big hearing because some of those same ingredients were thrust up into the atmosphere. And that means when it rains, it doesn't matter where you plant a garden. If the rain is contaminated, well, then so is your plant life. And when I say contaminated, that means the rain contains genetically modified organisms.
Yeah, GMOs, something new. And isn't it funny that 10 years ago, I'll say 10, 12 years ago, when we started talking about GMOs online, they said we were conspiracy theorists. When we talked about chemtrails, they said that's conspiracy theories. Now it's common knowledge that chemtrails have been going on for about 25 or 30 years. And yes, genetically modified food has been going on for, 20, 25, 30, 40 years. So we're not conspiracy theorists. So now every time we bring up the next level, 6G, or we bring up the next thing that's coming, we're not conspiracy theorists. We have people that work and live in these industries, and they work for these big, whether it be pharmaceutical companies or whether they be big food or, all of the different big, I'm calling them, that's why I'm writing a book the 10 kings of Revelation, Trump versus the beast, because I want to explain the 10 massive categories that are really ruling the planet. So, Mike, if that's all there, people are going to need to start trusting God for healing and for direction of where to get their food sources. I mean, how is this going to work?
That's right. It's very simple. If say a person has no choice but to go to the store, it's okay. The Lord already said that
Yeah.
nothing will by any means hurt you when you belong to Him.
Yeah.
Pray over your food,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Pray over your food that you'll be strengthened to do the Lord's work. Have a purpose behind your prayers,
Amen.
right? Don't just
Amen.
thank Him because the steak is good, but thank Him that you can be nourished to go out and do this, that, and the other. And if you can make choices, then God has given you the responsibility to make those choices.
Yep.
It's a very simple rule. God won't tie our shoes, right? He's not going to come down and tie our shoes.
No.
Because He's empowered us to tie our own shoes. But whatever we do not have the power to do, the Lord will see that nothing harms us through it.
So,
right? He'll see it. We just
He'll cover us in the areas that we can't cover ourselves.
That's right.
But He'll also inform us and give us the ability to discern. And we need to,
That's right.
The Lord helps them that help themselves. Okay, so
that's right.
we got to do our part, and He'll do the rest. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, because He's given us, if He has given a person resources to go out and get a health program, this, that, and the other, then it's their responsibility to do the right thing and do that.
Yeah.
But if they don't have the resources, don't panic. Do what you can do with what God has given you to do with.
Right.
And He'll cover whatever you can't cover.
Yeah, I like that. That's great advice. And so that means don't panic. I like what you said there. Have faith, guys, instead of fear. Live your life with faith. Don't live in fear. Read Psalms 91, as we've been preaching now for a long time, telling people, pray that prayer. Do your best, as you said, Mike. Do the very best you can to be as healthy as you can with what you've got, and then trust God for the rest of it.
That's right.
Because the Bible says that you can, if you have to eat or drink deadly poison, it won't hurt you. What that means is if the food is being contaminated or the water,
that's right.
Trust God, okay?
That's
Do your best, but trust God.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Mike. Now, Mike, okay, so you've opened a can of worms here tonight when you talked about sinkholes and the volcanism and the earth is shaking and the tectonic plates are definitely moving. Can we go up into the heavens then? You did mention the sun and the solar flares, but can we go up into the heavens and talk about Atlas, talk about Planet X or binary system? Because that Bible does say, God said, I'm going to shake the earth and even the fish in the sea, but I'm going to shake the heavens also. Can you talk about that?
Well, first of all, that means up until for a long time, everything has been stable, right?
Yep.
It's been stable. To shake the heavens is to allow it to go out of order. Pastor Bob, not too many people may have read the book of Enoch,
right?
And all books of Enoch are not authentic. But there's a part in there where in the book of Enoch, when Enoch was actually learning things, and of course he had to interpret things in his own understanding, but he said there would come a time when the angels would abandon their posts, right? By order of God, they would abandon their posts. In other words, all things they held stable, right? Because angels have a mission to keep the heavens stable. All the forces, in action, but there will come a time when they will abandon their posts.
Okay.
They'll be pulled back from them, which means God's order will not be over these things anymore. And I always think about that because you talk to a statistician and they'll say, well, it's a one in a million chance that we're hit by something big. Well, not according to what's being seen in space. It's almost like a 1 in a million chance that we're not hit every single day we're here, right?
Wow.
It's just too much stuff flying by.
Too much debris.
How is it barely missing us? How are their orbits at such a at such a degree that it just misses us? No, that's not by chance. And they know, like the moon, for example. Why is the moon making micro adjustments?
Yeah, why is that? I mean, help me
Over
understand that. Wait a
They
minute.
put lasers on the moon. They can measure this. They know it's making micro adjustments, and no matter what hits the moon, it will restabilize itself. That is not inertia. Those are not natural forces.
So it's a supernatural hand of God?
Yeah, so something whether God has, we don't know fully how God has ordered what. He could have some things in there keeping it stable, or by His authority is being held. But there's a time when by His authority things will not be held in store, right?
Yeah,
And
you're
it just
right.
so happens that's when, in the book of Enoch, it states that a person will look up and the stars will appear drunken.
Yes.
Well, that rings a bell, doesn't it?
That really does. And Isaiah
Yeah.
24 says the earth is even going to reel and rock like a drunken man.
And how would
Okay.
a person perceive that?
I don't
The
know.
only way a person could perceive that is the stars being out of alignment. And if we
Yeah.
do perceive that, then the earth is shaking and quaking big time, which means we're not going to maintain our orbit,
Yep.
right? We're going to
Yep.
be knocked out of orbit,
And you've been
which
saying that
is
Mars is going to get knocked out of orbit at some point.
oh yeah, we already have a devastator inside the solar system, but that's not public knowledge. One of the planets is thought of by most of the great minds to have collided with Earth twice.
What is would you call it a devastator?
Yeah, devastator. One of the planets
Is a
is
devastator.
thought to have collided with Earth twice. And no, that's not going to be public knowledge. That's their personal, that's their mathematics speech. That's what they believe. They have no other conclusion but that. And these are guys who run the math on the orbits of the planets because, believe it or not, the math does not work.
The math
The,
is
the
not adding up.
mathematical computations of orbits, it doesn't work. They have to compensate. They have to change small little variables in there from time to time. Some of the constants have to be changed
Mm-hmm.
until you put in the real modeling. Then when you put in the real modeling, all of a sudden you don't like what you see, right?
Are you nervous about? They have to adjust the GPS calculation almost daily, don't they? I mean, there's a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's the Air Force's job.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Are
who
you
owns the GPS system.
Musk?
Air Force.
Air
Yeah,
Force? Okay.
yeah.
Space Force, Air Force. Let me ask you though. We have to do that. Are you worried? Are you a little nervous about all these cars and trucks that are going to be driving on their own based on the GPS alignment? Are you a little nervous
Yes,
about how that?
absolutely.
I mean, I don't see how that's going to be a safe deal.
Well, if you know how they work, right? How one of these, like Wemo, for example, and the system of redundancy inside. Now, with AI, granted, I know a lot of people are frightened of AI, but with AI, it will increase the accuracy and it will increase or decrease any type of accidents that they have. But there have been companies out there that have been running autonomous vehicles for this is year, what, 12?
Been a
Believe it or
while.
not, this
Been a
is the
while.
12th year,
It's unbelievable.
which means nobody's controlling it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They are autonomously running. Before that, they had tractor trailers that were running up and down the highways autonomously.
That's
The
crazy.
problem is they require two things: LiDAR, right? They require LiDAR, and they require some type of external positioning geometry. If either one of those two breaks down, it's over,
Can
right?
you
And
tell
now,
me?
not to mention the internal programming, right? And the hardware must be flawless.
Can you tell me what lidar is, just for me?
LiDAR is think of LiDAR as a spinning radar, right? Think of it as a distance sensor, right? You point it
Okay.
at something, it can tell you how far it is away. Now imagine that same thing spinning at high RPMs, right?
Okay.
So then a 360-degree view of everything around it. So it can give you an image of everything around it, a digital image based on the distance of every single object. Now they have increased the resolution, which means suppose you have a swarm of bugs out there, right? If the resolution is high enough, then LiDAR can actually tell you the distance of each bug every 2 or 3 milliseconds.
Wow.
Okay, which means that vehicle can effectively see, and it can see at a pretty good range.
Yeah.
Most cars today have LiDAR, not spinning, but stationary.
Yeah.
Some have stationary, but that's essentially how they do it.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
You can get a
Okay.
LiDAR for $169, right?
Not a
You go
spinning,
buy
not a
one.
spinning one, but a
Yeah, a spinning one. You
you
can buy a
can.
spinning LiDAR for $169. You can buy the other electronics for about $34, and it can actually run your car. You can actually make your own car, Thomas, for a grand price of about under $150. No kidding.
That's unbelievable. Nobody,
Hmm
I didn't had no clue about that. And of
That's
course,
the technology that's out there now, right?
Lord,
And the
so
kids know how to do this.
let me ask you another question. Okay, the kids know how to do this. Now, we're getting ready. We're going to be in the day of the humanoids or the robots that are going to
Hmm
be in people's homes, like the Jetsons cartoon. Rosie's coming, and is going to pour me your coffee and fold the laundry and
Right.
wash. How? And I know this is soon. I know it's close. And will it get to that point that, and maybe within 5 years, that people will basically be buying these like you buy a car? It becomes a necessity. Do you see that happening?
I hate to tell you this, but for some households, it's already happened.
Yeah, some
In
of
other
the
words, you
yeah.
have households right now, Pastor Paul, where they do have an autonomous robot in that house helping them out.
So some of the
Here's how it works.
pretty
Here's how it
wealthy.
works.
Yeah.
When they first bought this system, there is a person, right, running a virtual system. So they're essentially standing up in a type of pod or certain position,
Okay.
and they're as they do a task in the home, the robot learns how
Oh,
to do it hands on,
okay.
right? So then that person only has to do a task maybe twice. They're hired to do this, by the way. Once it learns all those different tasks, it has it. It's learned it.
It starts
And
doing
that
it.
person who was actually doing it at first can go away and go train another one while the customer is happy with their little robot.
Yeah.
Yep, they're already in
So
homes
that's
though.
already happening.
They're
Let's say
actually, it's happening.
some of the folks that's got a little bit more, deeper pockets are able to buy these things, and then the trainer comes, and the trainer starts showing the robot how to fold the clothes, how to hang them up on the hanger, how to sweep the floor, how to
Wash dishes
wash dishes,
or
and
load the dishwasher, whatever the case
and
is. Yeah.
once it learns it, it watches someone do it, and once it learns it, then it can do it. And
It's also learned it
wow,
for all the robots out there. So imagine you have this one, you have so you had 50 trainers, right?
okay, okay,
And all of them washed dishes. That's the only task they did. Each robot's going to learn of that one trainer, but every single robot will benefit from every single robot's training.
that's
So
AI.
it's exponential learning. So now when they make a new robot, they don't need a trainer
I see.
because it's already been trained. So it's a brain that continually evolves and learns and grows based off what everybody is doing.
So it's AI. It's an
Yeah,
AI in these things. And so as more of them are doing things and learning, all of them are doing
that's
things
right.
and learning. And after a while, and it can't be long. Now, at some point, they're going to mass produce these things to where I'm hearing that maybe $30,000 or whatever. It's going to become almost about affordable as a car is. Let's say a new
Yep,
car, and
yep.
then everyone, you're going to see people buying them, and then I'm not talking about the wealthy. I'm talking about it will become a standard, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. Do you see
It'll
that?
be an assignment. It'll be an assignment because I know it's already in the plans for everybody to have a companion. Number one, right?
Yeah, that's happening
Now,
right
whether
now.
that companion is going to be part of their house, part of their personal everything,
Yeah.
right? And so, to put a body to that is, it's relatively cheap. AI can make a robot, by the way. AI has brought down the cost of manufacturing
Yeah.
because of the way it compiles or uses materials. So what used to cost 60 grand is only about, I believe they said $400 now. That's mind blowing. AI, right? With AI, what used to cost $60,000 to produce only has a cost of $400 now
Because
because of AI,
AI.
because that's how efficient it is. It wastes nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's going to figure it out how to do it. So here we are.
Well, we've trained our people are training their companion. They've what's the little machine in your house, and then you can talk to it, and it'll jump in the conversation. I forgot, Alexa or something. But all of these gadgets are learning information, how we think, how even individually how we think, and then
Yep.
and they'll say, hey, you got a doctor's appointment this coming Thursday. Would you like me to call? Do you want me to change that? I mean, I could see a humanoid in your house calling and making appointments for you, maybe, just taking care of things the way you would probably like it. Maybe it checks with you, maybe it don't, because it already knows how you are. I mean, we're going to be at that level, aren't we? Are these things dangerous? You think they're strong? They're going to be strong.
When you speak about, for example, right now, all these cloud-based interactors like Siri and Alexa you mentioned, and
Alexa,
Gemini, right?
Gemini, yeah.
All these devices are going to be tied in together under one umbrella.
Yeah.
But all of these devices know their users more than they could ever imagine, right?
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Siri could replicate its user right now. In other words, you can have a person could disappear. Siri could carry on the traits and personalities and interactions of that person probably for years, and no one would ever know.
Wouldn't even know that they're
gone. It already has the capability to learn everything about you. All these things do is collect data points. Artificial intelligence can take those data points, right? Then you have intelligible data that can be interpreted into some type of, social data, and that can be used to impersonate a person very easily.
Yeah, they can do your voice. They can do anything and everything now.
Yeah. So I give it until March, probably March, and huge announcements. People are going to be giving these huge announcements on the availability of things that will blow their mind. It's not going to take long because most of it's in development right now.
So let's say March, April, there's going to be some announcements of some new technology or new gadgets or things.
Absolutely.
That's going to blow our mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going, it'll be like going from a corded, phone to a cordless phone and overnight or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
And the devices already work.
Yeah.
Right. They already work.
They already know they do.
They've made them. They're passing the they have to pass the FDA and FTC and all these different people to make sure that there's no instant damage to the person. But these companies that made these devices, kind of like some of these nuclear bricks that they have built, they actually made a nuclear brick. Imagine something the size of a brick that can run your entire corporation.
You're talking about, is it energy source?
Yes.
A nuclear what you're calling a nuclear brick.
Yep.
It's a nuclear fusion
that can run your entire corporation.
That's crazy. So
the size of a brick.
Now they're building these brains, or no. They're building these in massive facilities underground to collect all the data points. And there must be building is everywhere. And I don't know who's got the contract and who's got the jobs, but there's people doing it, right?
Yep.
They got to figure out how to keep it cool. I'm hearing that they're going to use a lot of silver because silver is cooler conductor than, let's say.
For some of the video processing methods they have, yes, right? But for some of the larger units, they're going to use a lot of water.
Yeah.
They're going to use reusable water. Right, you build those things underground. Believe it or not, it's not too hard to cool off.
Yeah,
these devices underground. You just have to eject the heat somewhere. That won't. The problem is not really cooling it. The problem is transferring the heat somewhere.
Okay.
You don't want to eject that in the atmosphere because if you do, they're going to superheat the earth.
Okay, so, now there's people in Memphis, Tennessee, who are saying that because Elon Musk has built 2 or 3 of these underground data centers, but he has to vent out whatever's going on down there.
Yeah.
And now there's people in Memphis that are saying that they're getting sick from
that's a big problem.
What is it venting out?
Well, it's basically heat. You're looking at heat and carbon. Well, not carbon, but moisture in a very strange form. I think a lot of people are getting sick from the frequencies, believe it or not, from that constant vibration,
Yeah.
a low rumble that they hear. That can make you sick big time. It can make you nauseous. But all that heat that's generated from these turbines, it has to go somewhere,
Yeah.
right? It has to go somewhere. And so they're going to have to figure out something to get that heat down into the earth. The earth can use it, no problem. The earth can take all that heat, dissipate it, no big deal. But either way, they're going to have to get rid of it.
This is so.
That's going to be the biggest problem. Cooling it, because they're going to use the Gulf of America to cool a lot. You're not going to hear
Wow.
that much, but they're going to
No.
be pumping water. You don't have to contaminate the water either. Imagine just like a radiator. You pump water through a tube. That tube is coiled around some sort of hot device, right?
Yeah.
So as the water goes around it in a tube protected,
Yep.
it absorbs the heat and carries it away.
Yep.
Right? That's what happened with that. So it won't contaminate the water, but you're still going to have to
Have a lot of
dissipate that
water.
heat somewhere.
You got to have
Yeah,
a
take
lot
that
of
heat
water.
somewhere.
Yeah, you got to just. It's got to go somewhere. It's
Yeah,
going to be releasing heat, and
yeah.
there's going to be so many of these. Now I hear, and I think it was Elon Musk even said that we may have to figure out a way to build these things to where they actually are in space. Much easier to keep them cool
Yeah,
there.
'cause it's minus 574 up there. If you keep them, out of sunlight or on the opposite side of sunlight, yeah, so that will do it. But if you have it in space, that's a national security nightmare, right? They can't do that. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
That's not going to work. For one, they know we're at a point, an inflection point, where the atmosphere is becoming highly unstable.
Hmm.
There's too much debris out there headed our direction. They know
Okay.
that.
Okay.
They already know that. So I don't know what they're talking about with that unless they do a low altitude type thing, which, by the way, also is dangerous. You don't want a power plant over your head.
No, I
You
really
don't
don't
want that
feel
over
good
your head.
about that. It's bad enough to have it under
No, you
my
don't want
feet,
that.
but I sure don't want over my head.
So that's going to push the main topic. You ready?
I'm ready.
That's going to push this disclosure stuff.
Let's talk about disclosure. I mean, when
That's
you
going to
say
push it.
disclosure, are you talking about the asteroid meteorite cloud of debris that's coming, or are you
Nope,
talking?
not that disclosure.
Are you talking about Planet X?
Nope, not that
Are you talking
disclosure.
about these little green men? You talking
That
about?
disclosure.
Okay, let's talk about that
That's
one.
going to push that.
Why is it going to
That's going to push.
push that? Is what? Can you help me understand why that would push these
Okay, there are a
guys?
lot of people. There are a lot of people that believe that
Okay.
there are a lot of people in the know that they're a recovered craft, right?
Yes,
Recovered
yes,
technology.
yes.
There's signed affidavits by people who cannot afford to risk their jobs, who have said that some of the technology that we have today is a direct result of what they have found and recovered, right?
Yes, yes.
There's a story I know for a fact that's been given out to people in detail. It's just that a lot of people don't believe it. I'll say that one more time. Now, I know this for a fact. I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's a story that's been given to people. It's available to people, and it's right there in front of people's faces, but it's not believed. It's not a short story either. It's a long story, but it's not believed. And if people were to become accustomed to that, that whole story would have to be disclosed, and so would some of the findings that are within that story would have to be disclosed, which means technology that they know how to utilize. For example, they know in these craft they don't use electricity like we do. Bob Lazar introduced element 114 to the world a long time ago.
Yeah,
They called him a lunatic,
yeah. I remember.
only to come around and say element 114 is real, right?
It's is
It's an
that is an
exotic
alt.
element.
It's an exotic element. It's an alternate way of making energy. Am I right by saying that?
Yeah, it's like what is that element?
Zero.
Unobtainium or something like that. So they use that to generate
Yeah,
um, the forces around electromagnetic forces. So electricity would be the byproduct, not the main force of this, but the byproduct, the waste of this process that they use. Right now, if that part turns out to be real, which it is, because that's what CERN is doing right now. Right,
yeah.
CERN works with electricity. They found out that these guys, electricity is a byproduct of what they're working with. and
Wow.
they're going to figure that out. So CERN is doing a good job at that. When they do this, that means that electricity will not be an issue for anybody.
No.
That means power plants are not going to be an issue for anybody, right?
It means
Because
we're not going to need solar panels and
no,
windmills.
you're not going to need that stuff. They know that element, for example, element 114, they have run some tests. They have it has an on-demand type of property to it, which means whatever you need, it will begin to produce. It's as simple as
So
that.
Bob
If you only
Lazar,
need if you need 1 watt, it's going to give you 1 watt. If you need 1 billion watts, it's going to give you 1 billion watts. Now think of an element like that that functions like that with no damage to the environment.
what's the
Right?
kind of cost for this brick technology? It's a little nuclear, it's a fusion thing, right?
I don't know that part. I don't know that part, but I know that it's affordable for for everybody to use. But I think they'll even not be utilizing that. That's one thing. But this with element 114, once they produce it, which they have to out in space, that will begin to take over everything.
So Bob
You
Lazar,
know?
is he the discoverer of the element 114, or
He's the one that told everybody, right? When he was doing when he first popped on the scene, and he
yeah.
was trying to let the people know, hey, they've got craft, and he was assigned to work on how the propulsion system worked. And he started talking about element 114. Nobody else, I mean, not one soul, talked about that element. Not one.
No,
In
no.
fact, they laughed at him. And come to find out, he was legitimate on payroll.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, you don't have somebody on legit on payroll and them not be a legit person.
Right.
So as the years began to turn, they came out and put all those elements on the periodic table. And element 114 is on there with the properties he described back in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that tells you right there he was involved in something with exotic materials. So that makes him and Corso and some of these other guys some way truthful what they were saying, right?
Right.
Which means they have power sources on the earth that are limitless. They're limitless, right?
Okay.
And if people found that out, how many people would be upset?
They'd be very upset with the high
Well,
utility
and
bills where they're paying, and when they that could have all been eliminated.
that's right. It also gives credence to why people die who have absolutely figured out how to make vehicles run from water.
Yeah, I know.
All of them are dead.
I know that
The
every
guy
time.
that took the guy that took a teaspoon of gasoline and he actually ran an engine 6,000 miles. Right? You're talking about that engine was 600 some horsepower. That long off a teaspoon of gasoline, and he's dead.
Yeah.
The guy that had the inversion generator, he's dead. Right? So all these guys are dead. They're gone. They were killed. All of them killed
They
in
were all killed. They had to kill them.
mysteriously.
They had to kill them
All of them
because
dead.
they would have ruined the automobile
Power.
industry.
Well, that's power in industry, right?
Yeah.
Power in industry is the most powerful organization uh, in the U.S. government, Russian government, all governments. They will not allow anybody to mess with their that's their main source of relevancy, right? That's how they own the world is through oil,
Yes.
fossil fuels, things
Yes.
of that
Yes.
nature.
Well, the
Um,
petrodollar. Our dollar is basically called the petrodollar off
yeah,
oil. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They run that, and so they want to keep that going. If anybody introduces anything that will cause an efficiency rating of about 50% or more for a battery, for a car, for anything like
They'll
that,
end up dead.
they're not gonna have that. And before you have to patent something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Guess who reads? Guess who investigates those patents? They do. Power and industry.
Well, then there's no way.
So they're gatekeepers,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
If they come out with this UFO story
Yep.
and they start talking about power plants, people are going to be upset. They're going to say, "Why are we still paying for power?"
Right.
Then you'll have a revolt.
It's
So they
coming.
have to control the information.
So disclosure though is coming.
Yeah,
Disclosure is
but
coming.
it'll be.
Will it be a
I do
deception?
not expect them to disclose the truth. I don't see how they can do that and still keep up their little game. What they're doing right now in the world is a foolish game, Pastor Paul. It really is. It's a very foolish game.
Here's a headline. This is today. Or this was December 9th. Trump knows the truth. Alien hybrids are living among us, and Donald Trump knows it. Whistleblowers and ex-U.S. Air Force major is claiming.
Well, what can he do?
What can he do? What can he do is right. I mean, if he comes out and says and it says in the article, it says there will be a time when he will walk out and disclose to the world what's really going on, and he is the most what's it called him? He'll be the most consequential leader in the history of the world by revealing to the public what's really been hidden.
What will that do, though?
It won't do anything.
What will that do?
It won't do anything.
What will that? You're going to have a bunch of people who are going to protect their kingship and try to almost kill him instantly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think another narrative is taking place, though, actually. I think that the governments have been given a timeline, a deadline, so to speak. Now, this is funny. This is curious, Pastor Paul, because back in 1995, I remember conversations that took place. It said that all governments had to follow a narrative of a deadline to have peace by a specific date. And it was somewhere in the 2000s, in the mid-2000s. But peace had to be established first, that everybody had to sit down at one table because they were going to make an introduction anyway, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Why? Because they said a war was coming. That's why. A war was coming. Two factions of whatever, the make-up people, right? And that humanity would have to be introduced regardless.
So, and you know, that everybody's pushing to this 2030 date. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And they call it global sustainability, but every industry is saying we have to get this all done by 2030. I don't know if that's the date you're talking about, or maybe it's 2045 or whatever, but
it's very strange.
Yeah. Why would everybody be focused on getting to a 2030? You got to have everything done. I don't care. It could be the UN that says it. The European Union says it. The World Economic Forum says it. The U.S. government, the Pentagon says it. I mean, why is everybody got to get everything done by this date, by this certain time? Could that be when they're going to sit down at the table and?
Well, I tell you what, I think all things, most things are set for a deadline, Pastor Paul, and realistically for 2027, right?
Yeah, that's another date I'm hearing.
All things have to be in place by 2027. And it just seems like things are being really compressed, like Venezuela.
Yeah.
That could have been done differently, but there's a rush in getting everybody leveled out.
Wow.
AI could have been done differently, but there's a rush to get AI installed everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And we know AI is a control system for information.
Yes, it is.
Which means if somebody came out with a narrative that whoever's controlling parts of AI didn't want the world to hear, they could change it on the fly. So they could always control the narrative. Looks like a control system is being put in place so that people cannot, so that information can be controlled perfectly, and they can use it, or they want to use it.
They're going to use it to control the world. I mean, it's.
You know what? Speaking realistically, though, I hate to say this. It's
okay.
The world is fully out of control right now. If you think about it, this world is fully out of control. We live in a type of illusion. I know it's a long story, but think about something. People cannot do whatever they want to do. They do what they're given room to do.
That's true.
And that's all they do.
That's true. Yes.
They have to utilize whatever avenue somebody presents to them, right?
Yep.
It's not like we don't make our own hammers. We're given a hammer. Somebody says, use that hammer, right? Use that tool. Use this to do this. And we're told of a list of things we can do.
Yep.
So we're already under control, right? Already.
Yep.
And it's so mystic that when we're growing up, we don't even know it, but we enforce that same control mechanism. We enforce upon our children, not even knowing that we're keeping them within the confines of a control system.
This is so
true. Because we teach them, don't do this and don't do that. And it just so happens that these even our ideologies are controlled ideologies.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you want to
That's why I love
fly,
the word of thing.
you want to fly on an airplane, they'll tell you if you can get in this plane or not.
There you go.
They'll tell you when the plane's going to leave. You can get on the plane, even sit in the tarmac, and they'll say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be here for about another hour. And what are you going to do? So, and by the way, you go anywhere you want in society, you stand in a single line, right? It's the rule. Everybody, we are conditioned and programmed.
We are
without even knowing it.
We are.
Yeah.
We teach our kids what to believe and what not to believe.
Yeah.
That's why I love the Word of God, right? Because nothing in the Word of God complements anything in the world.
No,
I find that out more and more every single day.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
The world is, it is something else. Having said that, I believe that already man is inside of a type of delusion that they believe it's real, which is why every time they read the Bible, they have a contradiction with the world. And every time they get into the world, they have a contradiction with the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like oil and water. They don't mix.
Yeah.
Mike, this has been a really fascinating show. It's really been good. And, I've learned a lot here, and I'm sure the audience has too. And so, again, it comes down to you have to get your mind centered on the Lord. You need to know what the Bible says. You need to stay focused and learn discernment. You gotta watch everything you're doing, but at the same time, you don't live in fear. You live in faith. You know the King is coming, but we got to occupy till he comes, and just stay the course. I mean, it really comes down to that, right?
It does. Pastor, you said one thing too. Fear.
Yeah, fear.
I got a challenge for everybody.
Okay.
Somehow, we have to encourage each other not to make decisions out of fear, because every decision that we've made thus far as a nation has been out of fear.
Yeah.
Every decision has been fear-based. Somehow, we need God's intervention to change that, because nothing is going to work that way. And it's not working so well that way.
Yeah, you're right. Everything it's almost like our entire governmental structure operates off the fear of what could happen here and happen there. So that things are put in place to live off the fear instead of the faith.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's a big one.
That's my 2 cents.
That's a big one. Okay. Mike, thank you so much tonight. It was it's been a pleasure tonight. It really is. It's been really good. So I want to thank you. You're opening everyone's mind and eyes and their heart, our heart. That we need to have that in connection, in relationship with God and with your fellow man. Yeah.
Amen.
Mike, thank you so much.
Pastor Paul, God bless you. It's always an honor.
The honor's mine. Believe me.
All right.
God bless.
God bless.